I don't like Charlie Kirk. If you want my honest opinion, I genuinely don't think that he was really a positive force in the world. Case in point, some of the things he would say. I think that where he started off with probably best intentions, he eventually devolved into a race baiter, one of whom would say ridiculous things of such.
I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously.
It's an absurd proposition. To even project this into the cultural zeitgeist is extremely disrespectful and does nothing for no one. The idea one should be paranoid that a trained fighter pilot is a DEI hire. Especially when DEI is used more as a way to lambaste black people, even though, ironically, DEI programs actually overwhelmingly helped white women. It wasn't even right to project that message into the zeitgeist, and it wasn't fair, it wasn't accurate, and ironically, white women... white women. Be as it may, as much as I'm going to be quite honest with you, I don't like Charlie Kirk, or didn't. I had planned many different video responses to him. One of my subscribers, Obi, I'm not very good at doing the video requests he asked for. I'll admit. But there was one video I did want to take a crack at. It was this one.
Okay, everybody, a lot of people are going to be saying Happy Juneteenth. It should not be a federal holiday, and I'm on my way to work. Have a good day.
There were many things he said that I didn't like. And again, I don't think that he really helped anyone with anything, really. Granted, he clearly had very many supporters, but I don't think he really spoke to their edification. Be as it may, I think it's very easy for me to say or suggest the idea that no man should die in such a manner. No man should be shot in broad daylight at a speaking event where one is to debate. I'm laughing because it seems like it's really difficult for people to accept that in our current climate. It seems hard for people to be able to easily understand and suggest that, granted, he might have been your adversary. He was certainly mine in many different ways ideologically. But that doesn't mean that we should take glee in someone's graphic and horrid death. People seem to not understand what the point of politics are. People don't seem to understand what the point of discourse is. The point is edification. And what I mean when I say edification, it's moving us to a higher state, a better state. It's helping us. It's protecting us. The point of these conversations, the point of these videos I make, even this one right now, is to help you, to protect you to the best of my ability in this format. In real life, if you were ever caught in a dangerous situation, I probably would move to protect you, even at the cost of my own life. I'd be like Sasuke to Naruto. Despite my overwhelming greater goals, my body would just move on its own. That's the point of what these conversations are supposed to be for. It's what I make all my different videos for, and it seems very many people seem to not grasp that point. There's videos I'll make more in the future very soon about that, but even as much as I don't like or didn't like Charlie Kirk, it's very easy to say that a man should not be killed in such a horrid way. And it seems really difficult for people in our current political zeitgeist to accept that. I've seen some people respond with glee on Twitter. I've seen some people respond with apathy. And I've seen some people respond reasonably. That, to be quite honest with you, Charlie Kirk does not have very many good quotes that help in the way of empathizing, quite literally.
I can't stand the word empathy. Actually, I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that does a lot of damage. But
and when it comes to the gun violence itself, again, he has some very damning words.
I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights.
He had some very damning last words as well. But again, it's very easy for me to say that a man should not be killed in such a horrid way, even if he is my adversary. You see, I don't think Charlie Kirk really would do or could do anything that would help race relations, which is more of a dumbass internet term if you ask me. In real life, I helped a white man with his gas very easily. He came up and he asked me if I could help him, and I helped him. That happened twice, actually, in the last couple of months. Any time I can do something good for someone, I take the opportunity. It's not a challenge. If anything, it's a reflex at this point. White people, black people, Hispanic people. Very easy for me to be a kind, helpful individual outside of these YouTube videos. Didn't I just say that even within these YouTube videos, my entire point is for your edification and protection? People seem to not understand that's the point, or that's what should be the point of all of this discourse, of all these conversations. The point is supposed to be for us to help each other out, to get to a better state. Now, granted, we may not all agree. Granted, we all have different cultures. Granted, we all have different ideas, but the point, once again, is supposed to be to help each other out, which is why it's very easy for me to say a man should not be killed in such a horrid and awful manner. And so it bothers me greatly because on the other side of that, people who respond with glee and not apathy are those who respond with a strange anger and righteous indignation as they proclaim that it's time for war, which I find peculiar because no one has any information at the time I make this video of, well, who shot him. I find it interesting. I say, well, who are you going to war with? Sauron? Morgoth? Man, might as well take the head honcho. I mean, he helped corrupt Sauron. Might as well go to Morgoth first, you know what I'm saying? Skeletor? I mean, maybe Skeletor was behind it. I mean, if we're going to go to war cartoonishly, and I mean, I've seen some cartoonish takes, and I do find it very interesting that people act cartoonishly, earnestly. I act cartoonishly with intent and a point that I am, well, clearly acting, at least I would hope that you guys understand, I'm clearly acting. Like when I say, show me wrong, I realize it's absolutely ridiculous. That's kind of the point, to accent and highlight that these stories are not only entertainment, but they're also filled with themes that we're supposed to use in our actual lives in a realistic and reasonable manner. Obviously, there is no true power of friendship, but that's not the point. The point is that it's the bonds in our real lives that gives us the strength to push forward through adversity. So granted, there's no literal power of friendship, flame of emotion you gain like Natsu. But when there's something difficult and hard, you remember that the greater thing that should help you get through the hard thing are the people you love. Yet when these people on Twitter do their cartoonish thing, they talk about war, death, destruction, battle against the left, when they have no idea if the left was even responsible, even kind of a little bit about this. And sure, I'm not going to pretend it to be unfounded that perhaps the shooter might be left-leaning. I'm not going to pretend it's outside the realm of possibility. But with cooler, more reasonable, thoughtful heads, it's still absurd to proclaim that you wish to just fight and attack, as if that's not just going to beget more of what we just got, my friends. Because again, people seem to have forgotten what the point of all of these different political, cultural, social commentary conversations are all about. They're supposed to be about helping each other. But the more we create division, battle, wars, and what is again cartoonish, and again my version of social commentary is again to ironically highlight how cartoonish it is, but it seems like a lot of people don't have the media literacy to understand that the way they're actually behaving is akin to an evil Skeletor-esque being as they ride for the white man to battle those who would come against them. Like, they don't seem to understand that, like, they're literally saying that in earnestly, and I'm just mocking it. But then people, it's peculiar because people, like, they get on me because I do this dramatization, but they don't recognize that in real life, that's how they're behaving. Not taking a moment to recognize and understand that you're creating a narrative that will in real life make some crazy bastard think that they need to actually take a shot at someone who honestly, and I say this to my friends numerous times, I don't even understand what was to be gained by killing Charlie Kirk. Again, I didn't like him. Genuinely, I don't think he really made any bit of our discourse in the world even 2% better. Which might hurt people's feelings, but I genuinely don't know how inciting that a black person being a pilot is cause for worry, helps us. The video he made before he passed, or at least I won't say he made, but he uploaded on his channel before he passed, was more race baiting about, ironically enough, a Ukrainian refugee being killed by a schizophrenic black man. Again, people on Twitter angry at the fact that this Ukrainian refugee, who was not an American citizen, was killed by a crazy schizophrenic black man, is more evidence of this war, this race war between the demonic Negroes, the beast of the Negroes, and poor little white women, or just white people in general, which is strange that there's such fear for 13% of the population versus the 63% of the population that could easily, if they should so desire, just obliterate us. I mean, just by sheer numbers. I do find it quite fascinating that at this point, I have not been eradicated by the blue-eyed white dragon. Maybe my black magician is actually doing his job and keeping me safe. I don't know. But you see, again, I find it interesting. You would see how ridiculous that statement was because it was so cartoonish. But the idea that you're at war with the left, that doesn't read off as cartoonish to you. The amorphous being thing, whatever the left is, that didn't read off as cartoonish and strange. It didn't read off as strange or weird as you type that on Twitter after a man just died. You didn't think about that when you wrote that on Twitter. And that's my point. Because you didn't think about trying to help anyone, to de-escalate, to edify us, to move us to something better. Because you completely missed that that's what the point of all of this social political commentary is about. And we're here because everyone seems to have completely lost the point. Even if you disagree with what I believe is for your edification, which are, I'm just going to be quite frank, Christian ideals, because I think Jesus Christ is the greatest thing that ever happened to humanity. At me on that one. Even if you disagree, the point is for you to help me. And in our intellectual battle, we're fighting to see whom helps the other more. That does not seem to be the case. And it's because that's not the case, you can get someone so riled up and angry that they'll shoot someone dead. And what sucks is that it should be very easy to say that no matter how much of an adversary that man was, he shouldn't have been killed in such a horrific way. It is horrendous. And so, the point that I'm making is that, as cited, as I saw very many people be on both sides, my friends say that I have some degree of influence. I think I'm quite the hilarious failure on this website, but, I'm going to do my best and hope that if you do watch this video and make it to the end, that you grasp what the point of all of this stuff is supposed to be, and that is our edification. So in conclusion, instead of gleeful cheers at the fact that a man was killed on camera, and instead of insightful declarations of a battle against those evil lefties of whom you don't even know if they were involved in, what I would encourage you actually do in the wake of this man's death is to recognize that if we really want things to get better, which some of you guys may not, but if you do, to be quite honest with you, the only thing you really can do is to take every day you're here on earth still and do something good for someone else. And I'm not promising you that that will just make the world instantly better, but what I will promise you is that it won't make the world worse. Because what makes the world worse is these two idiotic sides not taking a moment to recognize that the point of all of this discussion is supposed to be to help each other. And I think Charlie Kirk lost that a long time ago, and it's partly why people are so incensed in both directions. Because if you care about me and I care about you, it'd be really easy to say that a man should not be killed in such a horrid manner. And if you really want the world to be just a little bit better, again, I would suggest that instead of your grand crusade and battle against the forces of darkness on Twitter, and by the forces of darkness I mean Negroes who didn't have anything to do with this as far as I know, and instead of gleeful cheers at the death of a man you never met or maybe you debated with for 15 minutes on a college campus, because again, while I don't think Charlie Kirk really did much of anything to really help the world, it should still be pretty easy to say that no man should be killed in such a horrid way. Instead of doing all of that, we can take each moment we have on each day and just do something good, just a little bit, for someone else on earth. And I'm not going to promise it's going to make the world better tomorrow, but I will promise it won't make the world worse. Because I got to tell you guys, nothing's going to get even kind of a little bit better if we keep choosing to have conversations that are not about helping and protecting each other. And as much as you might disagree with me, fair enough, that's my point. That's my objective. Even when I talk about women, and I complain about them, ironically, I'm trying to protect them. And when I talk about the value and weight of a man's life, I'm trying to protect him. And when I talk about families staying together, I'm trying to protect those children as best as I can to this degree of influence. That is what this discourse is supposed to be about. And it should never get to a point where someone is being shot and killed, even if they're your adversary. There does need to be some degree of honor and compassion. And one should not allow their heart to give way to rage and disgust and disdain for someone to the point where you can watch them die like that and you feel any degree of adulation or happiness. Your heart should weep not because he had a family, although that's a real easy way to get someone to care and empathize. But your heart should weep because Charlie Kirk doesn't have the opportunity to change and be better. Because that's ultimately what I would want with any of my foes. I'm not here to kill you and destroy you. I'm here to get you on my side so we can both continue to help other people. And that's the only way, truly and genuinely, the world's going to get just a teeny tiny little bit better. But this nonsense that we keep doing here, I'm going to be honest with you guys, it's not helping us. And my question is, at what point are you, me, all of us going to sit down and recognize that this anger, this vitriol, this, to be quite frank, evil, is not going to help anyone. It's just going to create more problems. I'll leave you with this one final thing. Despite the fact that I never liked Charlie Kirk, it is one of the saddest things in the world to see someone I don't like die horrifically. And the reason why is because it means that at this point, they no longer have the opportunity to change, to be better, to be different. That's gone for now. And what I want ultimately is for that. I don't want anyone that I dislike to die. I don't want anyone that I disagree with to suffer any degree of pain, really. Ironically, I disagree with you for your sake because I want your life to be better. And while you might not agree with me, the point of all of this, once again, is to protect each other. And if you don't get into the headspace that this American citizen is your American citizen, I'm just going to tell you one more time. It's not going to make anything better. It's just not.